Welcome back to the show. Today, we're cutting through the noise on a hard truth of modern deterrence. In a real conflict, the side that can build more, faster, usually wins. Not the flashiest gadget. Not the sleekest prototype. Mass.industrial mass. Here's the uncomfortable baseline. In repeated war games, the U.S. burns through key precision munitions in 6 to 8 days. Refill time? 2 to 3 years. Meanwhile, Russia now outproduces NATO in 155 shells, and it took them roughly 2 years to get there. That is the tempo of modern war. And it's the tempo we must match or beat. For 30 years, America optimized for exquisite systems, stealthier jets, smarter missiles, tighter kill chains. That edge matters a lot. But Ukraine has reminded the world of a basic arithmetic. Kilograms thrown at the enemy still decide outcomes. Precision without production is poetry without paper. So, yes, we need superior sensing, jamming, and long-range fires. But a small fleet of exquisite weapons loses to a sustained wave of good-enough systems if the wave never stops. Deterrence isn't just having a sharper sword, it's having an armory that never runs dry. Let's be blunt. We outsourced the muscle of manufacturing for 2 decades, just as electronics and advanced materials transformed every product. The result? A shallow domestic bench. Truly elite factory leadership is scarce. Average age of master technicians clusters around the early 60s. Manufacturing became uncool for a generation of founders, capabilities diffused abroad. Talent density, the magic of people hopping between firms and compounding know-how, evaporated. Rebuilding will take years. The good news. In the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen a surge of startups in manufacturing software, automation, robotic welding, composites, wiring harnesses, and more. The pattern to copy is Silicon Valley's dense skill diffusion and relentless iteration, this time on the factory floor. Capital expenditure isn't our biggest bottleneck. People are. The median deeply skilled machinist, toolmaker, or process engineer is around 62. You don't replace that craft overnight. 2 fixes in parallel automate to simplify. Make roles teachable in weeks, not years, so new technicians can become productive fast. Scale by learning. Build flexible, high-mix, low-volume lines that can pivot product families without months of retooling. This shift mirrors modern electronics lines. Think of a PlayStation class line, heavily automated, software-coordinated, human-supervised. By many accounts, China is a decade or 2 ahead in line-level automation and coordination. Our advantage? Software. Treat factories as networks of dumb but precise machines orchestrated by world-class code, and we can catch up faster than people think. In COVID, the world learned the chip is not the only choke point. Power regulators, analog parts, passives, humble components can halt entire programs. Go a layer deeper and you find rare earths, magnets, gallium, germanium, where China dominates processing and now restricts exports of key magnet-making know-how. Data first. Map the bill of materials 2 to 3 tiers down. Know the 10 to 20 true choke points, not just the obvious 5. Stockpile smart. Many bottleneck parts are cheap to store and life extended via rotation. Offtake plus floors. Use guaranteed offtake and price floors to incubate allied or U.S. processing capacity so new entrants survive predatory dumping. Allied redundancy. Spread upstream processing across the U.S., Japan, Korea, Australia, EU, Canada. This is industrial deterrence, removing the adversary's ability to throttle your tempo. Here's a telling contrast. The world's largest data centers can go from dirt to power on in under 5 months. Why? 30-year offtake logic. Capital markets understand per kilowatt contracts. Banks will underwrite $10 billion builds against contracted cash flows. Manufacturing, by contrast, is high mix, low volume with 1-year appropriations in defense. That revenue uncertainty kills structured finance. Fix. Translate factory capacity into long-dated capacity agreements, the industrial analog of data center offtake. Aggregate across programs, lock in multi-year capacity buys, and watch capital pour in. If you wait for perfect demand signals, you'll always be late. Factory-first strategies build flexible gigafactories ahead of demand, with lines designed to pivot between drones, loitering munitions, vehicles, power systems, whatever the mission requires. Key design rules: minimize tooling and capex per SKU. Invest in software-defined work cells and rapid fixturing. Train a technician class that can qualify on a new line in weeks. Assume the near-term game is high mix, low volume, not 1980s single-product runs. Permitting delays are not just a nuisance, they're a strategic vulnerability. Federal non-attainment rules and state-level bans make whole categories of modern plants impossible to build in some locations. 2 practical moves compete by state. Cite advanced engineering where talent density is highest. Cite volume plants where permitting, power, land, and cost of living align. Federal fast lanes for national security builds, time-boxed reviews, clear mitigation pathways, and standardized EHS templates. In industrial strategy, a 5-year timeline is a no-bid. You need 12 to 18 months from decision to first output, full stop. Direct grants to legacy giants with weak product-market fit are the worst use of public money. Better tools: bank underwritten loans with government risk sharing. For example, absorb a portion of defaults, buy down rates. Banks keep skin in the game. The government leverages the best capital market system on earth. Export finance and reverse dumping defenses to counter decades of capex, energy, and export subsidies used by China. Pick categories, not cronies. Use open competitions to place 6 to 8 large bets per critical category: drones, power electronics, precision castings, machine tools, magnets. Tie support to milestones and offtake, and let performance, not politics, decide. China has built an anti-access/area denial bubble, space-based sensing to track ships and aircraft at range. DF-26 carrier killer missiles reaching roughly 1,200 miles offshore. Long-range air defenses to push U.S. air power back. Shipbuilding capacity estimated at hundreds of % of ours. Drone output orders of magnitude higher. Even if their average system is half as good, mass plus range pressure are logistics, staging, and resupply. The counter is clear: a tritable mass dot field, large numbers of inexpensive networked systems you can replace weekly. Survivable sensing. Degrade targeting from space to sea to by maneuver. Industrial surge. Compress the refill cycle from years to weeks. Geography-aware planning. Deny occupation, not just invasion. Focus on sustainment and sea denial. Deterrence depends on convincing Beijing the window of success is closing, especially as demographics bite. Missiles in 7 days and empty magazines for 2 years is not deterrence. Magazines that refill in weeks is. For government, sign multi-year capacity, off-take agreements for munitions, drones, power electronics, and machine tools. Launch a national bomb map to identify the top 20 choke points, then fix them with off-take plus price floors. Create a fast lane permitting regime for national security factories with time-certain approvals. Structure bank-led, government risk-shared loans to crowd in private capital at scale. Run open competitions to select 6 to 8 national champions per critical domain with strict milestone gates. For industry, build software-defined high-mix lines. Treat factory orchestration as a first-class software problem. Design products for manufacturability at scale from day one. No design then throw over the wall. Automate to make complex jobs trainable in a month. Pre-buy and stockpile cheap but critical components where shelf-stable. For investors, underwrite factories like data centers, capacity contracts, portfolio of programs, 10-year capital plans. Back teams that fuse operations plus software and have playbooks for the first plant and the 10th. We don't need to out-China China. We need to out-America everyone by turning our edge in software, finance, and entrepreneurial speed into flexible, unstoppable manufacturing capacity. Technical superiority matters, but capacity is a strategy. It deters, it sustains, and if it ever comes to that, it wins.